What's going on, guys? Hey, it's Rodney with Aim to Build. We're going to go ahead and have a great time today. We're going to go ahead and discuss a little bit with the claims process and everything. You know, we've had a lot of weather events coming through. I got Mr. Brian Hurt here. Brian, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to us, and so that way everybody knows who you are, who you're with, what you do, and so then we'll get started from there.
All right, I'm with Financial Risk Solutions. I'm an independent insurance broker here in Oklahoma, and we're here to talk about the process of filing a claim or not filing a claim on your roof when we've had storm or hail damage.
So, Brian, talk to us a little bit about that. So, you know, there's a lot of people, and I run into them day by day all the time, where they're not really sure if their roof warrants a claim, or, you know, they get all these hail events or all these weather events that we have here in Oklahoma. They go ahead and come through, and then next thing you know, either they're calling their insurance agent, or you're getting a fly-by-night roofer knocking on your door, and they're saying, hey, listen, let me get on your roof. It warrants a claim and everything else. So if you have a client that's yours, that you have a policy with, they call you, what is the steps that you do to go ahead and let them know, like, hey, hold off right now, or hey, this is what you need to do? Talk to us a little bit about what that looks like.
So what I do is I educate them on how a claim will affect them in the future, as far as changing companies, rate increases, how long those rate increases last, and then introduce them to a reputable roofer that can go out and look at their roof and assess the damage and see if a claim is really warranted, or if it's a little too early in the process, or if there's not enough damage there to even start that process of filing a claim.
You know, most people, like, the moment a storm comes through, I'm going to tell you from personal experience, everybody thinks, oh, this warrants a claim right off the bat. But, you know, I've talked about this personally. You know, the biggest thing, especially as it pertains to roofs, is just because a storm came through doesn't mean that all the hits and all the damage that you have or potentially had from that storm actually is going to go ahead and warrant a claim. And I'll give you a great example. Like, you know, we up in Ada, there was a storm that came through, golf ball size hail. Now, on the outskirts of Ada, this was this past year at some time, I can't even recall right now. But on the outskirts, I went and checked on a roof for one of my agents and for one of their clients. And they had some little 1 and 2 golf ball size hail hits. But here's the deal. They had a class 3 shingle on their roof. Their roof was only 2 years old at that point. So even though I saw 1s and 2s hail hits, well, guess what? That did not warrant a claim to be filed, simply because in a test square, which is a 10 by 10 per each side that an adjuster is going to be looking for, I did not see the damage that would warrant. Now, with that being said, that's not to say that 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, that once again, those granules might pop and might go ahead and start coming down due to wear and tear, hot, cold, rain coming through, and then all of a sudden now we're seeing those pop. But right then and there, that doesn't mean a claim needed to be filed right at this moment just because a storm came through. Brian, what's the average time that somebody has from a storm coming in order to file a claim?
Yeah, so it's 12 months from the date of the accident or the storm.
12 months?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Not 2? Okay, so it's done a little bit changing. So 12 months. So I got Brian here. Listen, Brian sells policies, everything else. He's our insurance guy. He knows exactly what he's talking about. So if we're talking 12 months, so we always got what's called the date of loss, okay? Date of loss, okay? That just means when a weather event actually occurred in your area. When did all that happen, okay? So let's say you're going to go ahead and say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and wait 6 months from now. I'm going to see, and I've hopped on plenty of roofs where I'm just like, look, I know it's there. I can see part of it there because they're a little bit older roofs,
Right.
Say about a 6-year-old, 8-year-old roof. I see that it's there. I just want it to pop a little bit more. So keep in mind, you have that 12-month period in which to go ahead and wait. So at that point right over here, give it your initial inspection done. Wait about another 3 months, okay, on average. Get another inspection done to see if all those granules and everything have come off, see if they've popped some more, because at that point, that's what an insurance adjuster, whether they're a third-party independent or whether they are on direct behalf of your insurance agency, whoever that is, they're going to go ahead and be able to see the same thing that you're seeing. So one of the things that I always do with everybody is I go out there and do those test squares, everything else, And then I actually go ahead and show all the pictures and stuff to the client and say, look, this is what we have. This is the damage that you have going on. These are the steps to follow. And I tell everybody, listen, I'm going to shoot you 100% straight. So we don't have time for nonsense in this business.
That's
right.
right.
So, those are a few little educational tips, guys. Brian, is there anything else you want to leave with us real quick? We don't want to keep this too long, but we want to go ahead and make sure people are educated moving forward as it pertains to storms and hail, and as it pertains to your house, which is one of your most valuable assets.
One thing I wanted to touch on is let's talk a little bit about the hail season in Oklahoma. I've had clients in the past where, they had a hail event in April and wanted to file a claim. And I'm like, what if we have another storm in June and destroys your brand new roof? Now you've got 2 claims, 2 roofs in 1 year.
100%. So I'll give you an example. So back a couple years ago, or about a year and a half ago, something like that, we had a bunch that hit Kingfisher, if I recall. So as an example, look, one of the roofs, hey, we went ahead and did one of the roofs, and then you turn around, literally, not even kidding. So they had hail that looked like snow on the roof, okay? So literally did one of the roofs within a 2 weeks period of time. Then they turn around, they got smacked again with the same size hail, everything else like that. And at that point, it's everything you just did, because I don't care what you got. If you got golf ball, baseball, softball, I don't care if it's a class 4 or class 3 shingle, guess what? It's creating that damage all over again. It just destroyed what you just did. So at that point, just like you said, we're going back and we're filing another claim. So to your point, once again, let's say you have a storm in April, okay? This goes back to what we just talked about. Well, we know that season actually typically is going to end maybe in October, okay? That's about a typical time frame, okay? If you get anything past that, that's just by happenstance. We do live in Oklahoma. Now let's say, because our April to October, okay, that's kind of our hail season timeline, okay, here in Oklahoma. So let's say you had that occurred in April. Well, your date of loss is back in April, but let's say you had another one that occurred, the last storm happened maybe in September, okay? Well, we've had a lot of storms that happened in September. Well, at that point, you have, if it came through and it hit, and you have all those, you got it inspected, have all those fresh bruises all over your shingles. Well, at that point, right over here, now your new date of loss that you could use is now in September, because it's fresh, it's new, we can see that. Now, if you didn't get hit by that storm as hard as the one in April, then our original date of loss is going to go ahead and play back to April, that we can go ahead and file a claim on, because once again, like Brian said, we got that 12-month guarantee that we can go ahead and file that claim for that date of loss that occurred.
Right.
So great point, Brian. Excuse me. Anything else you'd like to bring to their attention?
I think that's it for today.
I want to bring up one more thing here. Now, Brian and I talked about this off camera prior to coming on, and we talked about, let's say, for instance, that you have a roofer who comes out there, whether it's somebody you know, whether it's somebody who's knocking on your door. They say, file a claim. Now, next thing you know, you are going through the claims process. Next thing you know, an adjuster's coming out there. Let's say that they meet that adjuster, whoever it is, or let's say they don't meet the adjuster, okay, depending on the company you are choosing to go with. Now, with that being said, let's say that adjuster's report comes back to the homeowner, and then you're looking at it with the homeowner, and it shows, look, they're not buying anything. Brian, what would be the steps to follow? Are you able to go ahead and request a second adjuster's opinion?
Yes.
Yes. Would you recommend that to your clients?
Absolutely.
Okay. So at that point right over here, so most insurances, okay, are going to go ahead and allow you to go ahead and, hey, have that second adjuster's opinion, just like Brian said. Now, with that being said, there's certain things that you would need. It's very hard to do. I won't say it's impossible, but it's harder to do on your own as a homeowner to request that second adjuster's opinion. It's not as easy as calling up your agent saying, hey, look, I want another adjuster's opinion. They're not buying my roof. Okay? Well, there's steps, and I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of tidbit information of certain things that most insurances, like on the claims side, that they are looking for before they send out another adjuster. A couple of those things are, number one, they want to go ahead and, just like what the adjuster's pictures were on their pictures that they're looking at from the initial report, they're wanting to see if there was anything that the adjuster missed. So someone like me needs to go ahead and do those test squares on each slope of the roof, show what the damages is, not only on the roof, around the perimeter, on the soft metals and everything, send that into the insurance. On top of that, they're going to want to know if you what the total cost is going to be. So they're going to want a proposal with that as well. So that proposal also needs to be in accordance with OKC Xactimate per whatever month that we're in for the year. So on top of that, we're going to go ahead and send in the photos and the proposal and say, look, this is what it's going to cost. This is the damage that we're seeing that the adjuster missed. Now we are requesting a second adjuster's opinion. Okay. At that point, I would say 90% of the time, they would say, okay, we're going to go ahead and get another one out there. Now, most of the time, they don't contact whoever the roofer is individually. Sometimes they can. One of the things I always do is I CC the client on that email. Always, any email I send to the claims department, they're always CC'd on, so that way they know what's going on.
It's good. Keep them in the loop.
Exactly. You got to keep everybody in the loop. You know, and one of the things, I had an Allstate agent actually tell me, look, every claims department is a little bit different. Now, this is kind of side conversation, but every claims department is a little bit different. But so most of agents, like for instance, they can go ahead and through the claims process, they can see what's going on with the file.
Right.
Now, keep in mind there are certain, and like I said, there's certain insurance agencies that your direct agent cannot see what's going on with your claims file. So someone like myself would have to CC on the email that your direct agent every single time. Most agencies can see what's going on with their clients because that's their clients who they're representing and who they have a policy. They have a policy like with someone like Brian. Hey, that's Brian's client.
Right.
Brian wants to see what's going on with his clients and through their steps. If they're filing a claim, where they're at in the process, have they received their first check? Have they received recoverable depreciation? If they have a full replacement cost policy, what's going on? Now, like I said, there's certain insurance carriers, unfortunately, their direct agents do not have access to that because the claims department is separate. We got to think about this a few more different ways. Your direct agent is your first starting place, okay, for everything. That's your first starting place. It's the person you want to go to before you file a claim. This first person you want to go to for any policy information, everything. Now, we got to understand that once you do go through the claims department, now we're dealing with a separate entity, but a part of like a whole group, okay?
Right.
We got to understand that that claims department is separate. Whoever the claims adjuster is separate. We got to understand that whoever the claims representative, after the initial adjuster's been out there, now we have the person who's actually dealing with your claim, whoever that is, the desk adjuster at that point is who we can say that they have become. Who is that person? Because that's the person who's ultimately going to be in charge of our file after all these initial steps have been done.
Right.
Okay? So we got to know this information. Well, before we close up here, Brian, is there anything else you want to leave us with?
I think that's it for today.
I know we've given you guys a ton of information. Hopefully this has been educational for you. Guys, if you have any questions for us, feel free to go ahead and reach on out. Once again, this is Rodney with Aim to Build. You guys take care and have a fantastic day. We'll look forward to hearing from you soon.
See ya.